for coming to the webinar. It's great to see that all of you are interested in space and learning about our project. The 6 of us here today are representing the team of SkyShot, which is an initiative that we started last year. We'll be talking about SkyShot and how you can get involved, and you'll have the opportunity to ask questions about SkyShot or our team at the end. First of all, we'd like to thank Edu4Space, if you can go to the next slide, for hosting this webinar. Edu4Space is an amazing community and resource for any student that's interested in space, and we're excited to grow our partnership together. Next slide. So SkyShot is an online publication for promoting understanding and appreciation for outer space, and we're essentially going to be going through the following agenda. First is an introduction to SkyShot. Second is publication categories. Third is submission and our peer review process. Fourth is social media. And fifth, we're going to be doing general Q&A. So about SkyShot. We were founded in July 2020. We're an online publication for promoting understanding and appreciation for outer space, and we feature multidisciplinary multimedia work by high school and undergraduate students internationally. So before we get started about SkyShot itself, we'll talk a little bit about our team. So I'm Preeti Rangnekar. I'm the founder of SkyShot, and I'm currently a freshman at Stanford University, where I'm also doing undergraduate research. I plan to major in computer science and engineering physics, and I'm an alum of the summer science program in astrophysics, as well as the UC Cosmos program.
Yeah, I'm Rudvik. I'm a freshman at the University of Michigan, majoring in aerospace engineering. And I was also an alumni of summer science program in 2019.
Anavi, do you want to go next? Oh, is Anavi on?
I think you might be going, so Alex, if you want to go.
Sure, yeah, I can go. I'm Alex. I'm currently a second year at the University of Chicago. I'm majoring in astrophysics. And for SkyShot, I am the head of peer review. I'm also an alumni of NASA SEAS 2018.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tori. I'm also a SSP alumni, and I'm currently studying computing and the arts at Yale. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nanette. I'm a freshman at Wellesley College, where I'm a licensed observer at the Witten Observatory, and I plan to major in astrophysics and maybe computer science, and I'm also an alum of the summer science program.
And I think Anavi is having some technical issues, but she also attends Yale, and she is the head of content management for SkyShot.
Cool. So now we'll talk a little bit about, just to confirm, is there an echo or is it good?
No, it's good.
Okay. So now we'll talk about our inspiration for SkyShot. So our initial inspiration was our experiences at summer programs. So we had learned a lot through the immersive process of astronomical research at the summer science program and at NASA SEAS. And we had enjoyed meeting other students who were very hardworking and also passionate about outer space. And that sense of community and collaborative learning was something that we wanted to continue. In addition, we saw that ourselves, our classmates, and our friends were doing a very wide range of space-related endeavors. Many of us were spending free time doing research with local colleges or studying for STEM Olympiads. Some of us were combining astronomy with our passion for art and making space-inspired designs for social media. Others were sharing advice for using telescopes for astrophotography on our Discord servers, or teaching younger kids about astronomy through observatories. So we wanted to combine these unique interests and give a platform where students can share their hard work in the space sciences. And finally, we were inspired on a larger scale by the recent advancements and societal enthusiasm for outer space. So in 2020 and 2021, even during the COVID-19 pandemic, we've really seen really clearly that outer space has had a unifying and uplifting effect on society. Over the summer, astronomers worldwide were embarking on a quest to take photographs of comet Neowise. The Nobel Prize in Physics was also given to 3 scientists for their research in black holes and cosmology. And just this week, we saw the Perseverance rover landing on Mars. And this was a major opportunity for looking for signs of life on Mars, really opening up the final frontier for humanity. So having gone through these inspirations, we'll now talk about our goals and our core themes. So we have three main goals that we emphasize in SkyShot. The first is creating an accessible publication platform. We know that students are doing great work in the space sciences, and we want to feature your work. That's why we have multiple publication dates during the year. We want to limit waiting time, and that's why we have a seasonal publication. We also have a very transparent and communicative peer review process, so you know exactly where you are in the submission process and journey. And finally, our focus is on high quality content and improvement. So we'll work with our contributors to make the content the best it can be. We know that there are students out there who have a really huge passion for space and astronomy, but maybe they haven't had official research experience or the opportunity to learn how to write a paper, and we will help students through their peer review process. So next, we also strive to be a multidisciplinary and multimedia publication. So what this means is that as for multidisciplinary, we include many aspects of the space sciences. So astronomy, astrophysics, aerospace engineering, and even astrobiology. We also encourage creative or non-technical submissions, such as music or art, which takes on a multimedia format online. And essentially, we want to capture the universe holistically, the curiosity and research-based or aspects of science, as well as the more beautiful and emotional side of the art that can be inspired by space. And ultimately, we want to foster community and opportunity through partnerships and student contributions worldwide, as well as by sharing educational resources in our publications, such as scholarships, competitions, internships, and more. One of the fascinating things about outer space is that it connects us regardless of our location, background, or interests here on Earth. It's truly for everyone. Next slide.
Yeah, so here's a look at our first issue from last fall. So as you can see, we actually had a pretty good outreach. We reached over 2,500 readers, and we received a variety of contributors writing articles and submitting pieces in a variety of different subjects. Yeah, you know, next slide. So looking forward, our next issue that's coming up in spring 2021, we're currently seeking submissions, and the submission deadline's open for another month until March 15th. And we hope to get this publication out in April. So yeah, so if any of you are interested, we're still accepting submissions until that deadline. Yeah, next slide. Okay, so these are the categories, the various categories of content that we accept. So we're going to go over these briefly in more depth soon, but these are just a few of the different categories showing the wide variety of work that we publish, all related to space. Next slide. All right, so the first type of content that we take is informative articles. So these are shorter pieces that can cover things like recent developments in the different fields or just any general kind of content. So here's an example picture on the right. They're usually like 1 to 3 pages, not super long, and they can be submitted as a Word document. So very good first content to submit for anyone who's interested. Oh, you can go to the next one.
So the next category is student research. Is there an echo for you guys?
You're good, Tori.
Okay, so if you have any papers in astronomy, astrophysics, astronautics, or space science, you're welcome to submit either the abstract or the full research paper. We ask that you have permission from whoever you worked with on the paper to publish in SkyShot, and further submission details are given on our website. You can go to the next slide.
So tutorials and guides are basically for people who want to show how they can get involved and do hands-on projects in astronomy, astrophysics, or aerospace. So tutorials and guides explain how to do something, and some examples would be how to choose which telescope to buy, how to do a simple project with programming with AstroPy, which is like a Python package, for example, or how to launch a weather balloon locally. So a written format of articles is preferred, but videos are also accepted if you want to do a sort of presentation that explains how to do one of these topics. And we don't have any restrictions on length. This is an example of a guide on the right that was submitted by Cameron Wu for issue 1. It explains how you can learn astrophotography as a beginner with a limited and reasonable budget. Although not required, this article includes some subpoints and categories to explain the different aspects of astrophotography, such as types of images and equipment suggestions. So this is just an idea if you want to submit in this category. Next.
All right, sorry, I was having some tech difficulties, but I think I'm back now. I'll just give a quick introduction. I'm Anavi, I'm the head of content management for SkyShot, and I'm a freshman at Yale studying astrophysics and possibly also CS, and I'm an alum of NASA SEAS and the Yale Summer Program in Astrophysics. All right, so for our astrophotography category, we allow any picture of astronomical objects. So that doesn't just have to be like deep sky objects like galaxies or nebulas. It can also be planets or Milky Way photos or just photos of stars like that star trails photo at the bottom there. So you can include a foreground. You don't just need to have space. And we ask for some submission info. It isn't required, but it does help provide context for your images, like the name of the object, in this case, the Orion Nebula, or if you don't have something like that, then if you could title your image, that adds a nice touch. And date, location, any camera info, camera specifications, and maybe like specific exposure info. So how many seconds you took, how many exposures you used to make your image, and maybe what program you use to process it, such as Photoshop or Lightroom. So we may make some decisions to include or not include your photo, just like if we have, for example, 5 submissions of the Orion Nebula in the same issue, we might decide to only pick a couple of them. But we will try and put your image in another issue if it doesn't make it into this one. But we also may make some decisions to not include some really, really blurry photos. But that shouldn't discourage you from submitting, because you don't need to be as good as Jonah over there with his incredible Orion Nebula photo. Anything you submit, we'd be happy to take.
Okay, so these are our artistic and creative submission categories. While we do make more informative ideas about astronomy through stuff that young have for our beautiful universe. So that we're looking for people to submit are any sort of visual art, so drawings, paintings, watercolor, charcoal. We're also looking for submissions to do with creative writing, so short stories, short plays, poetry, anything that has like a theme or like setting to do with outer space. And we're also looking for audio or video recordings of music that you have performed or even created. So yeah, once again, we want SkyShot to be something that showcases young people's imagination and passion for space. So anything like falls into these categories, we highly encourage you to submit. Oh, next slide.
All right, so I'm going to talk a bit about what you can expect from the submission process. We accept all of our submissions through a Google form at the moment, so you can upload all of your work, every single piece that you wish to submit to the magazine, to Google Drive and put it in the same folder within your Drive. And then you can fill out our submission form with some brief information about yourself and a link to that Google Drive folder. You can access the submission form at this bit.ly link. It's just SkyShot Submit. And make sure that you fill out every field that is applicable to your submission. For astrophotography, like Anavi mentioned, please make sure that you provide as many details about the photos that you took as you can, as that will really help other astrophotographers who might want to recreate or be inspired by your work. And then once you've submitted, all you have to do is wait to receive a confirmation email. The SkyShot team is committed to reviewing every submission, even if we're not able to include it in the next publication. We will probably want to include it in a future one. So we will get back to you about the status of your piece within 1 to 2 weeks after you submit it. Next slide, please. If you are interested in submitting, but you don't yet have your pieces finished, we still want to hear from you. So you can fill out the SkyShot interest form, which will basically give us your contact information and an idea of what kind of pieces you are looking to submit. And that helps us get an impression of what our next issue is going to look like. Again, we have a bit.ly link for this. It's just SkyShot interest. And yeah, next slide, please. So after you submit, your work is going to go through the peer review process. Essentially, this first bullet point is about that confirmation email that I mentioned earlier. After you submit your work, one member of the team will review your submissions and send you a confirmation that we received it. In that confirmation, we will include comments such as if we don't have enough room for a certain piece in the upcoming issue, we might let you know and ask if you would be okay with us keeping it to publish in a future issue. Or we might make some other requests, such as if a research paper that you've submitted is quite long, we might ask you to submit just the abstract instead, but we'll make sure to check up with you for any changes that we wish to make to your submissions before we publish it. Then after you receive your confirmation email, your pieces are going to go into the peer review process. So at SkyShot, we have several peer reviewers that focus on the different categories. So we have peer reviewers for creative work, we have peer reviewers for the research and informative articles, and then we have peer reviewers for astrophotography. So each category of piece that you submit will be assigned to a different peer reviewer. You will communicate with your reviewer, mostly via email, but we also have a participants Discord that we can add you to for easier communication, and you will make edits to your piece in order to get it ready for publication. The process of the editing and the amount of changes needed will vary by category and by the quality of your piece, so don't stress about that. It's generally a pretty easy process. It doesn't take that long to complete the edits. Once the peer review process is complete, your piece is considered ready for publication, and it will be slated to appear in one of our upcoming issues, probably the next upcoming issue. But like I said, if we don't have space for a certain type of content, we will probably ask you to put it on the back burner for a future issue. Next slide, please.
So in addition to our publication, we're also growing with a couple of other initiatives. So this includes the Open Space podcast, which we're doing in collaboration with Astrophysics Feed. Astrophysics Feed is one of our members' Instagram pages for astrophysics information. It's being run by Andrew Tran. It's very educational and interesting. I would definitely recommend checking out the posts. They're extremely thought-provoking and will get you to think about astronomy and the universe in ways you haven't thought about before. And in our podcast, we're also aiming to include guest speakers and discuss relevant topics in the space sciences, as well as feature student speakers who can talk about their experiences with research or choosing majors related to space. We also have an Instagram page at SkyShot Online on Instagram, where we post about content from the SkyShot publication, so featuring various articles or submissions that were in our last issue. And we also provide general facts, like how COVID-19 has impacted astronomy. So these are posts that we're seeking to grow and also receive submissions from our team members. So as for partnerships, we have partnerships with high schools, colleges, and organizations around the world, such as Edu for Space, who we have partnered with to host this webinar. And we essentially provide submission opportunities for all of the club members or all members of the organizations. And we also have some sort of subscription program for astronomy and rocketry clubs, where essentially they would be able to incorporate the content from our magazine, such as the tutorials, the guides, as well as articles or research papers as part of their curriculum that they're teaching to their members. So these are some of the ways that we really try to implement that third goal that we mentioned, which is the community and opportunity for students worldwide. So our contact information is given on the next slide. So our website, skyshotonline.com, this is where you can submit your work through our Google Forms, learn more about how to contribute the submission categories that we discussed. You can also learn more about our first issue, which is available on our website, as well as on two other sites, Issue and Yampu. You can also email us at skyshotonline@gmail.com for all questions if you have any comments or suggestions too. And we have our Instagram and LinkedIn accounts if you would like to follow for updates. So thank you all for coming. It was great presenting about SkyShot here, and we're also very happy to take any questions that you have about SkyShot or in general.
Thanks. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat. To start, I can just ask you some general questions we ask all our presenters. So are you guys thinking of any future plans as of now, other than your podcasts and posts, or are you sticking with your publication and just developing that more?
Yeah, so right now we are primarily focusing on our publication because that is something that we believe that there are a lot of students who are doing interesting initiatives and different projects, and we want to keep growing that as a platform for students. In addition, our other focus would be having the podcast and also our partnerships growing through a larger level. So one of the partnerships that we have at the university level is the American University of Sharjah. So essentially, we're seeking to host guest speaker events and also collaborate with high schools and universities so that we can maybe host some collaborative events where we go over things like how to use telescopes, how to get involved with astronomy remotely, things like that. I will also add that SkyShot is part of a larger organization that the same group of people we started called Science Connect, and that organization is also seeking to host 2 other events this year, which includes an astrophysics plus CS workshop, as well as another event, which is a mission design boot camp, where we talk more about aerospace and some of the things that we were inspired by experiences at NASA.
Well, it looks like there's no questions in the chat, so I'll end the recording there. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.